This new series of obstacles to the flow, and of course how to overcome these obstacles to the flow of music, are about interpretation. So of course that includes technique, rhythm, repertoire and your own creativity, but the thing is that how to interpret something. When we interpret something properly, it becomes 3 times more, right? Like if I play mechanically, suppose I play mechanically, and then that does not transmit exactly the emotion with which it was written, or the emotion should be conveyed there to the public. But if I interpret this being present there myself, so with just these few notes of the passage, you can tell that it has power, as opposed to the other kind of robotical way of playing the phrase. Even if perfectly accurate technically or anything, doesn't matter, but it does not transmit the same emotion that when you play it with your complete self there. You put yourself into the thing and you're present there playing. So this is interpretation, the power of interpreting the music, either music made, like falsettas or great classic music, or just pieces, other covers, or how do you interpret a particular piece from other composer, or your own compositions, or music created on the spot and improvised there. Same. Interpreting the music is the most important aspect, and I don't think there are lessons about this topic online or anywhere at all. This is very interesting thing, because we will cover some aspects here which are knowing, first of all, which are the obstacles to the flow of music. Music has to flow like a river, and if you get stuck there, there are some reasons why we are getting stuck. These obstacles have to be first identified and then deal with them so that you can flow. One of the things, rhythmically speaking, we can say is the first aspect I want to address here is the aspect of speeding up or rushing. This is the characteristic of a beginner or of someone who is not very expert in music, that he's playing all the time like speeding up. This is rushing. Anything you do rushing, eating or talking with a friend, anything you do rushing, you spoil the good of it and just ruin the enjoyment there because of this speeding thing here, which is in the mind. The rushing, playing while playing the things. For instance, if we have to play strumming in 4/4 at 91 beats per minute, if I speed up that and rush, look what happens. I am all the time ahead. I am not with the metronome, I am speeding up. Then if we play it robotically, the thing, like very accurate but with no emotion, then it's this. Here is matching everything, the golpe is matching with the click, but it has no wave of organic flow. Then if we pull back and control this guy, be able to master, first we have to feel comfortable with his presence, the metronome's presence. And then because you learn to work with this on a daily basis, this is a habit you have to get. But actually this is a friend. First is perceived as an enemy because people don't like to check things with the metronome. Or, you know, you ask the guys, do you practice with metronome? And they say, oh yeah, I have one in the attic or somewhere. So translation, I never use the metronome. Why? Because this guy will tell you exactly where you are, and this some people do not like much. Of course they will get stuck there at the point they are. For as far as for us is concerned, we do use the metronome all the time in our practice, and this is a friend because it will tell you where you are and also how you can go further from those limits there of speed either, or accuracy or speed. And then of course this becomes also a friend in the third stage and becomes your servant actually, because now I can pull back the rhythm and use an organic flow of rhythm, which is exactly the last moment in which the notes could be played, which are okay to be played. I will post in the description the first video, a whole class, it's an advanced lesson, but you can listen it and take some value from it about this topic, because Paco said this so much time that you show a video or anyone was saying there, Paco, have you listened to this music? And he said, oh yeah, but it doesn't have weight, no tiene peso, it doesn't have weight. So this weight, what he was meaning is exactly this what we are talking about, your ability to pull back the rhythm in a way that it sounds organic, is inside the tempo, is not robotical, and of course not speeding up, but it conveys a dynamic of tension and release of the tension in an artistic way. So therefore we could play pulling back the rhythm, same thing as here. I am not in a hurry. It's very subtle, the difference, but well, of course in recordings you could also analyze this very scientifically. In fact, we did in Canada, we did some experiments with a friend, Greg, and we record, say, at 91 beats per minute, hand claps and stuff, and then play at 91 minus some very small cents there, and then put both together, and yeah, it was that exactly, like almost like if you have to play slower, but not exactly you play in slower, but the thing is that you master the rhythm so well that you can control this guy and put the emotion there, which is there into musical phrases, either rhythmical, melodical, or harmonical passages, falsettos. This can be actually everywhere. Paco did always play like that, based on a rhythm on which he had a center, and then pull back that rhythm. This is a very advanced concept of interpretation, but I want to start this by saying and simply talking here, because this I want to be giving a series for all levels from this point, that is meaning that everyone can listen to this and take some value from it. And I will say that first we have to start by analyzing from where does this problem came. The problem of speeding up happens because of fear. That's right, fear of the future and not being present in the present. There is only one way we can play great, and that is being present there. Otherwise it becomes mechanical or robotical playing. This applies for every style. But in our music, more than anywhere else, because it has so much rhythm, emphasis on rhythm. So therefore, practically speaking, we are worried about the future. Next passage, next chord, next thing, next phrase, next stuff. I hope I don't miss it. And then this worry translates into you speeding up. Basically speaking, this is the whole problem. And that's why technique has to be mastered. Because when you master technique, you are not afraid anymore. You have control of what you will do. Just like the other day we were watching some of the training. One friend came and showed me some of the training the rescue swimmer people have in America, how they train with pulse with ice, and so many trainings they have to do, because rescue swimmer, the guard coast of the United States, they have to go anywhere there is a problem and be able to solve the issue. So their trainings are very hard, and I was observing this thing. This is exactly the same thing what we are doing rhythmically to perform as best as possible, that we need to train on their circumstances which emulate that what will happen when the problem is there, and we need to solve it, to face it and to solve it successfully. So therefore, here, as far as this training is concerned, it's impossible you are successful on this topic unless you train. And of course training should be under supervision, because that's another problem. We need to have a coach. And in fact, these guys, they have some officials, they're high people that is indicating this is wrong, do that like this. So they have a guideline and some coach there who indicates what's the goal and how to achieve it. And then they get this great training, and then they can go to the sea and save lives there. So very interesting analogy, because in music, when we start playing a piece, how we started, how we continue, and how we end up, it says everything. So very important that you have a nice training. This nice training means under supervision. Alone you cannot do this thing, really speaking, because if you could, then just by listening this video, suppose you can just learn by watching a video. Now you watch what I'm saying now, and then that's all. Problem solved. No, it doesn't happen like this. I never seen it happen like this. I wish it was that way. Then I will have more time to practice myself and don't be giving so many lessons, etc. But the thing is that cannot happen. It's an illusion. So you need to have supervision to verify what you are doing is right. Therefore, this training, the main aspect here we have is that we have to eliminate the fear of the future and be able to play everything in the present. It sounds weird, but this is the thing. When we are playing, we are worried about what comes next. and don't miss the point of what comes next. And that worry makes you speed up. This is the whole thing. So in this series, we will analyze this and other subjects which are main obstacles to the flow of music. And if you follow the instructions here given and have proper way to execute these instructions and the proper supervision, etc., you will succeed to get flowing and get that inexhaustible flow of creativity, emotion, conveying emotion and meaning in what you play.